today it's my health anniversary. What is good, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber, and today is my 1-year health anniversary. It's actually in a couple of days, but April 20th, 2020 was when I officially started my health and fitness journey. And now that it's been a year, I thought it would be nice to look back and just over how this process has been. One, just to be able to document it for myself, and two, hopefully as motivation or inspiration for anyone trying to start their journey as well. Like I said, I'll just be sharing my story of this past year, so I won't be going into too much detail. So if you're interested in seeing anything else from me related to health, fitness, nutrition, anything like that, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you are not yet subscribed. So I'm just going to take you all along this journey, going month by month, but I think it's important I give a little background on me and how this all started. So if you know me, I have always been an athlete. Growing up, I was always in some sort of sport, and then in high school I was a triathlete, so I was playing sports year-round, so I was very active. And fitness, health, and nutrition has just always been important to me because I've been able to recognize what it does for my mental. But when I started college in August of 2017, I stayed active, but it just wasn't as consistent or as intense as being on a team. Fast forward to junior year of college, I hadn't gained that much weight if you just looked at the scale. So in high school, I was around 135 to my highest was probably close to 145. And then now at this point, junior year, I was at around 145, no more than 150. But I still just noticed a difference in how I felt, and then when I look back on pictures, you could definitely see it in my face. That weight most likely went from being muscle to fat. So on the scale, it stayed the same, but where it was coming from was different. At this point, I started to try to pay more attention to what I was eating, but I didn't make any significant changes, mainly just tried to cut down on snacking and junk foods. But it was still the same cycle of I was going to the gym pretty regularly, but didn't always stay consistent, and my workouts were pretty basic. I would do elliptical workouts, 30-minute cardio routines, that sort of thing. And then fast forward again to March of 2020, that is when COVID hit, and that was the start of quarantine. At this point, I had been working out since getting back home pretty consistently. It was just still the same pattern. I would work out every day, but if I felt tired or unmotivated, I would just skip the workout. And at this point, I was doing a program called Body Boss, which was a 3-month program. So me and my mom, we always talk about getting our lives together. And so we were having one of those conversations, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start today, because it was a Monday, and you know, that always feels like a fresh start. And so I know my general goal was to make sure I was working out regularly and to watch what I ate. So that morning I downloaded one of those calorie tracking apps. So my intention was to continue doing Body Boss, but not skipping any more days, and then to track what I ate while watching my portions and daily calorie intake for just at least a couple of weeks, just to get an idea of what my eating patterns looked like and that sort of thing. So now it's been a little over a week, but we are in May, and I haven't missed a workout, and I am tracking everything that I eat. I also started going on bike rides, and I was just feeling real motivated, but also not convinced with myself, because You know how they say like it takes 21 days to create a habit and 90 days to create a lifestyle? So at this point, it's becoming more of a habit. But if my schedule were to completely change, which it always does when it comes to school, I wasn't convinced that I'd be able to keep up this lifestyle. So like I said, fitness has always been important to me, but mainly for the mental benefits, not so much the physical. But obviously I still have physical goals or aspects of my body that I want to improve and everything like that. But with that, I've never really been one to take pictures or track my progress in that way. But when June hit and I was still going strong, I decided it would be nice to be able to look back on my progress, whether good or bad, but just as a way to keep me motivated. So I had my dad take my measurements for the first time, and I tracked my weight on the scale, and I also made more specific goals that I wanted to work towards reaching. I was still going on bike rides, going to the track, trying new food options, just kind of playing around with my diet, seeing what things I like that I could replace with other options, or just getting more interested in the nutritional aspect of what I was eating, just not just focusing on the portion sizes. So July 3rd, I finally finished Body Boss for the first time all the way through. But at this point, it's around midsummer, and I don't know why, but at certain times of the year, my mind starts to take over and I get really overwhelmed and stressed about any and everything in life. And so I was glad that I accomplished this goal, but my mind was just on so many other things. So I decided to do a detox. Now, I've done detoxes in the past for this exact reason. I would never really do it for the physical benefits, because nine times out of 10, the weight loss from a detox is water weight, and so you're gonna gain that back. It's like once the detox is over. And then 2, I just always feel so refreshed and less overwhelmed, so that becomes my main focus or purpose when I decide to do one. After that finished, I was feeling good. Okay, I had more energy and I just feel re-motivated to keep going. And I was also still tracking my food. That was really beneficial for me. I know that does not work for everyone, so just keep that in mind if you do decide to try it. If it feels more like a burden than a positive guide with watching what you eat after, trying it for a week or so, then just don't do it. Because if you don't like it, you won't be able to keep up with it or make it a part of your lifestyle. But just speaking for me, it's really helped me to stay on track. So this was when I started noticing actual differences. My clothes were fitting a lot looser and my weight was the lowest it had been since high school. I had my dad take my measurements again and I took some more progress pictures. But by mid-August, it was time to go back to school and we were going back to in-person. So I really get to see if these habits became a lifestyle change or not. At this point, I'm used to doing at-home workouts. I haven't gone to the gym in months, and so I decided to just continue that because that's what I was now used to. I lived in a house, a campus house, and so I would work out on the porch, doing a lot of jump rope exercises, and then I also decided to do Body Boss again. So nothing too different, just I was surprised that I have been able to stay consistent with both eating and working out daily. I haven't weighed myself or anything like that since leaving home, so I don't really know where I'm at with that, but I had decided that during the semester, I wouldn't focus on that until I got back home. I was feeling myself. I noticed more changes just in the fact that I was becoming more toned in certain areas, and now almost all of my clothes were fitting loose. So I finished Body Boss again all the way through, no breaks, and your girl was proud. I weighed myself for the first time since August when I got home, and I basically maintained, which was my goal. I did lose a little bit of weight, but nothing like major or really significant. When it comes to working out, I definitely prefer programs that I can follow. Again, I know that does not work for everyone, but it just gives me that structure. I don't have to come up with it myself, which is why I typically try to find something that I can follow. But I was tired of Body Boss, and since I had only been doing home workouts, I mainly been sticking to just using my body weight, and so I was getting bored and just wanted something else. I started doing the Works, which is a beach body program, and I know a lot of people have negative thoughts and opinions towards Beachbody, their coaches, and the programs, but for me, it just really depends on which one you choose, your level of like how active you are before starting one of the programs, and just how you adjust it to fit your needs. But anyway, I started doing that because it didn't require a lot of space, and it also incorporated weights. This was 6 weeks, so this was like my winter break workout program. Now my schedule is getting completely changed again. I'm not going back to campus for the semester because I have my internship. I finished the Works and I just needed something that I could do in a small space. And I also have been wanting to do boxing. So I found 10 rounds, which is also a Beachbody program. And I would do that right here in this little room. And that was going well. I also was incorporating weights, and by the end of February, I had finished it. I haven't weighed myself since November, and the last time I took my measurements was in August, so I don't know where I am with that, but I continue to physically notice changes, and I've also realized that my mood has stayed up way longer and more often than what it used to. So by the end of February, I have about 8 weeks left in the semester. So I wanted to find a program that could fit that time frame. So I started one called Transform 20. I was excited for this one because the workouts were only 20 minutes. So it would be easier to fit into my schedule, but I was not feeling it. But I did decide to just keep going through, like to keep doing it, because I was still getting in a good workout, and like I said, it was just easier to fit into my schedule. I also should note that at this point I've still been tracking my food every day. It's just become sort of like instinct, and I've stayed within my calorie budget. The problem is what I'm eating hasn't been as great. With always like being on the go, I just noticed my diet turned more into snack foods, and like they were still healthy, like almonds, cuties, pistachios, pretzels, that sort of thing, but that's not healthy when it becomes your full diet. So I haven't been getting all of my needed nutrients, even though I watch my portions. So now it's April and I'm at the end of internship, and when I realized that my diet had shifted to more so snacks rather than full balanced meals, I started to try and be more conscious. But if I'm being honest, I know I'm still not getting all of my needed nutrients, which I can say has had an effect on my energy, both in general and when working out. But now we are at a year from when I officially started to be more conscious and intentional about all of this, and so that in itself has been a major transformation. Now I would say my focus is on nutrition. When it comes to working out, I have a pretty good routine in place. Even if I'm not following a program, I have the tools to be able to create my own workouts if that's what I want to do. But eating is still a work in progress. I've been making it a priority to learn more about the science behind nutrition and macros and micros, how that all works together and affects your health. So my goal is to start applying that knowledge to my eating habits and to be able to be consistent with it no matter where I am, how busy my schedule is, or any of the other barriers that make eating more of a struggle to manage. For anyone out there like me that wants to be more intentional about their fitness, health journey, just remember to take it one day at a time. If you fall off, don't take it as a setback. It's just a part of the process, especially if you're wanting it to be a lifestyle change and not just trying to meet a certain goal for a special occasion. Also, don't let someone tell you there's only one right way. Figure out what works for you and do that. Like, I hate that people really be out here trying to tell people how they need to work out or eat. And if you aren't enjoying that strict diet, you won't be able to sustain it long term. And so it's all about finding a balance. But anyway, that is a different story. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Again, let me know if there's any specific things you want to see or hear me talk about related to health and well-being. And finally, congratulations to any of you, wherever you are in your own journey, even if you're still in the early beginning stages, just trying to figure things out. But other than that, until next time, peace, love, and beauty. Bye.